Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rick Berry. I'm a consultant with Ordinal here based in Northwest Arkansas. Today, what we're looking at is the Pea Ridge, Arkansas Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment meeting from back in early February of 2025 as a means by which to be able to show the different ways that Ordinal, our AI technology, has the ability to help in not just an office setting, but also in real world planning commission, city council type environments. So, some background on Pea Ridge. Pea Ridge is located in Benton County, Arkansas, with a population of about 8,600, 8,700 at this time in 2025. A lot of growth over the course of the last quarter century. My notes here say back in 2000, population was about 2,300. 2010, it's at 4,800. And in 2020, about 6,600. So you can see some immense leaps and bounds in terms of population growth over the last 25 years. So that's just one way that you can tell that Pea Ridge is one of those towns that is growing so rapidly, and Ordinal can play a huge role in helping their team, both in planning department as well as other elements of their municipal government. So what I'll do now is I'll have Michael roll some footage for us of this Pea Ridge Planning Commission meeting from back in early February of 2025. We're going to touch on some items to show just where information provided by Ordinal can be so important and really help relax people by knowing that they have the ability to get answers very rapidly and in real time.
All right, we'll open up the February 4th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting.
So starting at the beginning of the agenda,
First
we've
item
got
is
our
roll
opening
call.
of the meeting. We're going to jump right into our roll call, letting us know who all is on site for the evening.
Here.
And then here in just a moment, we're going to review the meeting minutes from the January 7th, 2025 meeting of the Planning Commission. And so what I'm seeing from that
Next item is
is
reviewing
that
meeting
the cities
minutes
have
for
the ability
last
to
Planning Commission on January 7th.
have their meeting minutes in Ordinal, thus allowing them the ability to say if one of these members of the Planning Commission have questions about what was in last month's or even some months last year, their Planning Commission meetings, they might be able to type into Ordinal,
Yes.
what was project B73?
Are there any
And they'll be able to
announcements
come
from the
up
city?
really quickly with that information in Ordinal, the same way that they would type in
First, I'll
requesting
close
for
the Planning Commission and
code
open a public
information.
hearing. First item for public hearing is the McKinney-Douglas rezone from agriculture to R1 for the 2.42 acres on Clark Street.
All right, Michael, if you'll hit pause for me real quick, I'll be able to address some of what is just being jumped into in the meeting. So we're looking at that rezone. They said it was the McKinney rezone from agriculture to R1. R1's going to be a very low density residential type of zoning. But one of the ways that Ordinal could help you in this environment, whether as a planner, a planning commissioner there sitting, getting ready to vote, city council member watching in the crowd or something like that, you have the ability to jump into your Ordinal right there, whether it's on your phone or your laptop, and ask the question, hey, what McKinney rezone? And if those agenda items are uploaded into Ordinal, you have the ability to pull all of that information up. You may be able to pull up the various maps. You'll be able to see the streets. You'll be able to understand the utility providers, all of that sort of information very quickly. And so then it kind of provides you with an ability to avoid the awkward moments where you are like, oh, what is it that they're doing right there? I know they're rezoning, but what is around there? What might someone come back to me and say, well, why would you vote for that item? In this case, residential, it's right next to a commercial, hypothetically. Why would you make that vote? And in this instance, you could jump right into Ordinal. They would provide you in Ordinal the answer to the question you're looking for, and you can churn right through that meeting without missing a beat. So Michael, if you would, go ahead and hit play again, and we will roll through a little bit, see what their vote is, and then move on to some of the other items on the agenda.
Do I have a,
I want to clarify that there was a couple of places that said that it was going from agriculture to R2, but it is R1. So if anybody had read the spot that it said R2, that is incorrect.
So, Michael, I'll have you pause right there, too. That's another interesting spot. Members of the Planning Commission saying, hey, there was some talk that this was actually being rezoned to R2 potentially, whereas no, actually it was R1. So if you're able to include these agendas as well as your meeting packets and minutes and so on into Ordinal, what you can do is very quickly show everyone the city over, hey, this is going from ag to R1, not ag to R2, and so you can really get those answers addressed right at the front end and minimize the number of instances of kind of misinformation, if you will.
So this is just to keep him in compliance with the zoning. Can't have under 5 acres to be ag, so we're just going to R1 so he can build a single-family home at some point in time on that property. He's splitting that off of 20 acres in total, and so he's going to keep 2.42 acres and then sell the 17 point whatever that is. Acreage. And he's here if you have any questions for him. He's right there in the front row. I'm just trying to assist him through this process.
okay. All right. At this time, do we have anyone from the public who would like to comment on this?
So, Michael, I'll have you pause right there, too. Hearing them request the public, if they have any comments, questions, concerns, gives them the opportunity to get up there and speak. So this is yet another instance where Ordinal could be very useful to city planners, the planning commissioners sitting up there getting ready to hear those comments from the public, or again, city council members that may be in the crowd watching, the mayor and so on. You have the ability to more rapidly answer and get verifiable information from your code and from your agenda and maybe even previous minutes if you have Ordinal. Whereas there are some times where if you don't have certain bits of code readily available to you, it may take you a moment to find what it is that you need in order to support a certain argument or a stance that you may have about the situation. So, Michael, if you would, go ahead and let's keep rolling.
Okay. All right. At this time, I will close the public hearing and I'll open up the Board of Adjustments since the only item on the Board of Adjustments is something that is in the Planning Commission agenda. That first item is the Shelby Forest Phase 2 subdivision variance request. Come up and...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael, if you'll hit pause real quick on this item too. So hearing that variance request item, something that Ordinal would be able to do in this situation, if you are a planning commissioner, planner, and so on, a lot of these folks that I've already referenced a couple times thus far, you may want to pull up side by side on your screen what items are eligible to be variance requests within the code of your city. Alongside the actual subdivision plat. In this particular case, it's the Shelby Forest Phase 2 subdivision, and so you'd want to have that pulled up, maybe be able to see all of the plats and so on and so forth, and then with the variance, what is that variance for? And here, let's roll tape, and we'll be able to see some of that or hear some of that information.
I don't know if you had any particular questions or...
You want to tell what it is?
Our engineers here too.
So this is on a Shelby Forest Phase 2 subdivision that's asking for a variance request. The variance request is being asked for because this is built out in Phase 1. And it was in the county, and it has recently been annexed into the city. And in order to keep the cohesiveness of that subdivision, it's asking for a variance for no curb and gutter on the street, so basically a street variance, and also asking for street lights and something else.
Sidewalks.
And so this is very rural. It's not within the city. It is in the city limits, but it's not in the city proper. And so in order for cohesiveness, he's asking for a variance request so his subdivision can be allowed to.
Gotcha.
be
Michael, if you would go ahead and hit
built out
pause
like
on
this.
the meeting there for a moment. So that's a really interesting case that's, I guess, in the Northwest Arkansas area, not so unique because there is so much growth on the periphery of some of these cities. But what you heard there was a change of jurisdiction that land is a part of. So this phase 2 of Shelby Forest subdivision was previously part of the Benton County jurisdiction and then was annexed by the city of Pea Ridge. And so that's where you have the ability to recognize, oh, okay, you're being held to a different standard when you're in a different jurisdiction. So in this particular case, this variance, it might make a little more sense. In Ordinal, you'll be able to pull up, hey, what are our street standards, sidewalk standards, and so on for subdivisions, and then compare that with what was previously the standard whenever the subdivision was approved out in the county. So Michael, if you would, go ahead and keep tape rolling. We'll jump on to the next items.
So that's the reason for this variance request.
And because it's broken out into kind of 3 separate requests, we'll do 3 separate variances, one for the curb and gutter, one for sidewalks, and one for streetlights.
Do we also need one more for the stormwater drainage as well?
The stormwater drainage is essentially tied in with the curb and gutter.
Okay.
So I guess the first variance request would be to have the curb and gutter street variance request. And so I'd make the motion that we allow that variance request.
Second. Motion and a second.
Second.
Sean?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Arella?
Yes.
Wilhelm?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Stokes?
Yes.
Odell?
Yes.
Okay. Next one would be the variance request for sidewalks. Do I have a motion for that?
Second.
For approval?
Forgive me, yeah, for approval.
And I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
Sandy, his name's Sean Rooney.
I know.
I'm sorry.
But I thought Mr. Arella
No,
made it.
I know, but whenever you called his name a while ago, it was a little bit wrong, so I just was helping you so that,
I said it.
said Roney.
Rooney.
I'm just sorry, I just wanted to, say- we didn't say it at
I
the
knew what she
time.
was talking about.
Okay, Mr. Arella and Mr. Stokes?
Yes.
Sorry, Sandy, didn't throw you off.
Mr. Arella vote?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
One.
Yes.
Ms. Karen, yes.
Karen. Cute. I know. Adam?
Yes.
Caroline?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. All right. Then the final variance would be for streetlights.
So moved.
Second.
Karen first.
Caroline, second.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
One.
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Adam? Michael?
No.
Adam?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Variances all passed. Okay. All right, this time I'll close the Board of Adjustments and open up the Planning Commission. There is no old business, and the first item for new business is the rezone for McKinney Douglas from agriculture to R1.
So yeah, Michael, if you'll pause for just a
Does anyone
moment.
from the commission have any questions?
Now we're jumping back in. We're wanting to
Sure,
make
go
sure
for
that everything is good to go for the vote on these items that were previously discussed. In this case, it's the McKinney-Douglas rezone that we talked about going from ag to R1. Again, this is going to be another one of those instances where you could, as a planning commissioner, planner, and so on, you'd be able to use Ordinal to be able to look up any last questions that you might have prior to making that vote. And you could do so without having to bring it up to the group. You could just have it pulled up right there on your laptop, tablet, phone, and so on, and be able to keep the flow of that meeting rolling. So if you would, go ahead and hit play again, Michael, and we'll keep going.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
We'll make a motion to rezone the McKinney Douglas property from agricultural to R1.
Second.
Motion and second.
Sean,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Carolyn.
Yes.
The next item is the Tractor Supply. It's the large-scale development for the 4.53 acres on Leetown Road. Do I have a representative for that?
All right, Michael, if you'll hit pause for us real quick, we can reflect a little bit on this. So this is the first item that we've talked about tonight, or had the Planning Commission talk about tonight, that is a large-scale development. I'm not going to bore everybody with the details of what that actually entails, but this would be one of those items where you're going to have large site plans, potential renderings of buildings, and so on and so forth. So you would be able to say, if you have all of your agendas, minutes, and plan sets in Ordinal, you would be able to have that stuff pulled up as a planning commissioner during the meeting and be looking through those items for any questions that you might have, simultaneous to having the code opened up and being able to see, hey, does this actually match here? Should there be a variance on this item? So not speaking specific to this particular item that there should be any variances, but in the event that you are looking through, you may be able to ask some of those questions, get some of those answers, and again, keep the flow of the meeting going, because it's everybody's time. So, Michael, if you would, go ahead and let's keep rolling.
They do not have one here. They didn't have, all the comments have been addressed.
So everything had been answered that you asked?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Robbie?
Yes, everything.
I think Mike had sent in something from the water department.
Water department is good.
There you are.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
It's contingent on this department.
It is? Okay. Do we have a motion contingent upon?
On the other side of the rolling meadows, we were trying to figure out where they were putting it at.
It's, if you go past Battlefield, it'll be on the south side of the street, right after Battlefield.
I couldn't figure it out. Thanks.
Just past it.
There you go.
No.
South side of
That's
Leetown.
outside that little piece right there is where it's going to be at.
Michael, you don't need to pause here, but I am
So I
enjoying
make the
it's
motion that we
it's
accept
fun
the
to
Tractor
just hear
Supply
them
Company
discuss the
large-scale
actual
development,
location of
4.53
a
acres on
project
Leetown
site.
Road.
But that's one of those things. If you've got
Second.
Ordinal
Contingent
readily
upon the health
available
department
for you
approval.
there on your screen, and you've got your plan sets
And I'll second.
available via Ordinal, oh, you've got that answer right away.
Sean,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
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 Adam,
Yes.
Carolyn.
Yes.
The next item is
Hold on
the,
a second. So for those of you who are in here that may not know, we have gone over the Tractor Supplies stuff through a tech review, and then of course everything was submitted, and then they resubmitted what needed to be fixed. And so once that is all done and we come to the meeting, we don't generally go over everything, all the details on that here. So just in case you're wondering about what goes on before we come in to vote on this, that's how that actually takes place. Okay?
Yeah, Michael, if you'll hit pause right there, that's an excellent point that's made right there, is the fact that they go through a lot of that information, if not darn near all of it, prior to coming into these planning commission meetings here in Pea Ridge. So what you're going to see is that if there are questions about certain elements of a project, about the agenda, and so on and so forth, what you'll be able to do is reference back to maybe some of those tech review documents, if those are uploaded into Ordinal, to be able to answer certain questions that may come from the public, or some that you may have as a planning commissioner or planner, and so on. So, all right, Michael, go ahead and hit play. Let's keep rolling.
thank you. The next item is the 0806 Investment LLC preliminary plat for Shelby Forest Phase 2 for the approval of the 12.03 acres.
No need to pause, but I will say that
Forest Drive.
as we're looking at this is cool. We've already heard the variance requests, so they are moving forward
Does anyone else
with their
from the commission
vote
have questions on it?
pertaining to the
Water's
preliminary
good,
plat
pending
of
ADH
Shelby
approval.
Forest Phase 2.
questions, Michael?
I don't.
So, I don't know if anybody in the audience or here has been out there to it, but it is a very nice looking subdivision with some very nice homes on it. It is at the end of a road. Basically, there's a cul-de-sac at the very end of, I think you'd say both phases. And it is now in the city limits. So I think it looks very nice, very promising. So I would make the motion that we accept the 0806 investment preliminary plat for Shelby Forest Phase 2, 1203 acres on Forest Drive.
Pending.
Pending Health Department on the show that.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Juan?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Next item is the Dr. Horton Inc. Rolling Meadow Subdivision Preliminary Plat, request for phases for the northeast corner of Leetown Road and Greer Street.
This is an interesting one. No need to pause, but yeah, they're requesting phases. If you're in the meeting and you're rolling through everything and can't remember exactly what those phases are going to look like, if Ordinal has all of that tech review information available to you, you could pull that up and be able to say, hey, well, here's where phase 1 is looking to be, here's where phase 2 is looking to be, and so on and so forth. You get those questions and answers pulled up right in front of you so you can make the most educated vote that you possibly
Yeah, on
can.
the first
It goes
phase.
down the east side of Greer Street, right?
It all makes its way to the pond.
To the pond.
Yeah, so all of that. They're just showing the lots on this plan, but the pond will be constructed. And the water will be routed to the pond.
So let me understand that. So what's highlighted in the bold is we're talking about phasing here, right?
Yes.
So that bold there is what the first phase would be. I don't see any impacts to emergency services. What is the timeline between phase 1 and phase 2, do you think?
They're still in the process of constructing what would be the second phase. It's basically being constructed concurrently,
Okay.
and it'll just be a few months down the road. And their main goal is to just get a start on, platting the lots in the first phase so they can get homes going, and they'll be continuing work on the second phase. And so that infrastructure is being installed right now at this time. And all the critical infrastructure like the sewer line extension and the stormwater drainage down to the detention pond is going to be installed by the time the first phase is platted.
This is gonna have bike trails, is that still planned? Or down Greer, I originally, many months back, it was like about having the bike trails going up and around.
I don't believe that's part of this development. Doesn't sound
No.
to me. Okay, the sidewalk extension along Greer, yeah, that is included.
All right, do you have any other questions from the commission?
So this is just a asked for this to become a phased subdivision, which was not at the first time that we approved this. So all this is coming in and asking for the phase to be designated so that they can move forward with selling lots once phase 1 is completed out. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, phasing, and that's an element of the next project that's going to be pulled up after this. Phasing, so you've already gone through Planning Commission, gotten the approval for your subdivision. Now you're just going through the motions of requesting that phasing. And
I would
if
make the
Ordinal
motion that
has
we
all the
accept
previous
the,
minutes for
request
meetings
for
and so
phase
on,
on
you'd be
P.R.
able to
Horton's
have those pulled
Rolling
up right
Meadows
before you,
subdivision
side by
preliminary
side, the
plat
current
on northeast
agenda
corner of
items and the
Leetown Road and
phasing,
Greer
along
Street.
with what was originally approved.
Motion, do I have a second?
I will second.
Sean,
Yes.
Juan,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the Lexington subdivision preliminary plat, a request for phases on Arkansas Highway 72.
Hey, Jeff, would you mind closing those doors? Sorry. Thank you.
So no changes to the plan, just requesting phase lines as well. So the first phase would be all the gravity lots. I think there's 151. And the sequencing really is it's going to go flow right into the second phase. It's all going to be built. But in talking with Carroll Electric, it was going to be beneficial to go ahead and power the lift station up in phase one. The lift station's in phase two, but we'll have power to it so we can flow right into that second phase without having to wait on them to heat up 350 lots at one time, which was going to be overwhelming to them. So I think it makes sense.
So these will just be gravity feed, although the power to the lift station will be there. It won't be functional until you start phase two.
Correct. We won't have any need for it until we get to
Right.
that second phase. We're going to go ahead and get it powered up, though, so we don't have that lapse.
I noticed that one of the ponds look like is in phase one, but not the second pond. Is that going to affect any of those?
We're going to have two of those ponds down in phase one. The one after 5 us.
These would be the types of questions that would be beneficial
That one will
for,
be done?
say,
Yeah.
engineering
It doesn't look like it's in that
representatives to be
phase.
able to hear if there are alterations to a detention pond or something like that that are being proposed with phasing, or if certain phase needs to include a detention pond in order to offset that runoff.
Okay.
All right, then we can just clarify that if we accept it.
I think that's all right. I just didn't understand it. So those lots that are on the west side there, Mike, that's outside of the first phase, those are they're not gravity?
Correct. There's one street there. Those western lots are they're gonna go back to the lift. That sits a little lower there.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions. One, John?
John? If nobody has any questions, I would go ahead and make the motion for Lexington subdivision preliminary plat request for phases for Arkansas 72 highway. For Mike C, it's not on there, but I guess I'll add that because I'm not going to say the parcel numbers.
Motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sean,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
That's the last item on the agenda for tonight's meeting. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Caroline made the motion. Karen, second. You can roll call if you want.
All right. Well, Michael, if you will, go ahead and pause. And I want to say, yeah, this gives us a great opportunity to have a look at some of the ways that in real time Ordinal could be used by planners, planning commissioners, city councilmen, mayors, and so on and so forth. Again, in real time during a planning commission meeting, city council meeting, or otherwise, to be able to help keep that flow of meeting going, as well as have the best and most up-to-date information regarding a project, regarding code, and other things at any given moment. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you so much to Michael Tharrington for playing the lead on getting the video rolling for me. So thank you all, and please reach out to the folks at Ordinal, and they have a great product for all of you.